Hello and welcome to News Now. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari says his government is negotiating with some members of the Boko Haram sect for the release of the over 200 school girls kidnapped in Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria last April. The president made the statement while responding to questions from members of the Nigerian community in France under the auspices of Nigerians in the diaspora organization, that's NIDO. He said his administration was worried and working tirelessly to ensure the release of the schoolgirls. He added that the government had to first ensure that the people they were dealing with are the genuine leaders of the sect, as the first impression they got was not encouraging. The president said one of the conditions given by the group was to release one of its members who had been strategic in developing improvised explosive devices, a demand that the government says it would not accept. Now, the presidency revealed earlier in July that it was willing to negotiate with the terrorist sect in order to put an end to the killing and attacks on innocent Nigerians. Meanwhile, the security expert Simon Udia says while it is not a bad idea to negotiate for the release of the girls, the government must tread with caution.
I have to believe that tactically the girls are not within the ambit of the Nigerian military. And if they are not, then it is obviously fair that the issue of negotiation should be taken seriously. But then, negotiation, on the other hand, is something we should understand that it does not have to dance to the tune of only one person. We are talking about the Boko Haram wanting their bomb maker and so on to be released. And we know very well that when you're dealing with a faceless organization, it is difficult to trust them. What will happen if you release this man and then he goes back to the trenches, continues doing the improvised explosive devices for them, and then at the end of the day we still do not have the kills. But the truth of the matter is the government has, when it comes to negotiation, I want to bring myself to believe that the experts involved in negotiation will be involved, and the Nigerian government does not necessarily have to bend to only the release of one person for the Chibok girls. I believe there are other Boko Haram suspects that are there that require that they could actually trade in for.
More Nigerians have been reacting to that revelation by President Buhari that his government is negotiating with Boko Haram for the release of the 219 missing Chibok schoolgirls. Here's what some have been saying.
As a wise man, a former army general, is supposed to know that before such very dangerous people are released, certain things are supposed to be done. And by the time, before you release them, some devices are supposed to be placed on them. So you put them on maximum surveillance, you put them on 24-hour surveillance. That could even give you another link to get to the hideout of some of these Boko Haram.
If the Boko Haram, which is a very dangerous sect, wants that negotiation and that will bring back the Chibok girls, it's no problem. It's okay. They should release their members and they should bring the girls back. But you know, I fear we do not know the hidden agenda of the Boko Haram. It's just like human mind. They may want their members to be released, and then they come out from another angle, or that the issue of negotiation may also be a strategy to divert the government. But if there's going to be a negotiation and they are ready to stand by their own deal of the negotiation, the ultimate thing we want is that the girls should be brought back so that they can go back and meet their family, and you know, it will be very good for our economy.
Well, no, it's something that Nigerian, we're all expecting all these ladies to come back all this while. And to me, if it can negotiate with them for them to be released and Nigerian to be free of this attack, I think it should be something better.
Well, there's this international principle that no legitimate government negotiates with terrorists. At the same time, you find out that what legitimizes a government is its people. And whereby the people now ask you to negotiate with terrorists, now you have no option than to obey them. But at the same time, you must bear in mind that what you should give out in exchange for their demand shouldn't be to the detriment of the national security.
The president of the Nigerian Senate is in trouble. The Code of Conduct Bureau has slammed a 13-count charge of corruption on Senator Bukola Saraki. Saraki is accused of offenses ranging from anticipatory declaration of assets to making false declaration of assets in forms he filed before the Code of Conduct Bureau while he was governor of Kwara State. Among other offenses, including allegedly acquiring assets beyond his legitimate earnings, Saraki is also accused of operating foreign accounts while being a public officer. That's as a governor and the senator. The offenses, the charge said, violated sections of the 5th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Now, still in Nigeria's Senate president and the corruption charges filed against him, Bukola Saraki has denied all 13 charges leveled against him by the Code of Conduct Bureau. In a press statement released Wednesday, Saraki said all the allegations were false, incorrect, and untrue. He said he has not been served the court process. However, he still owes members of the public an explanation on the allegations. That's according to him. Now, Saraki has consistently declared his assets as required by law at every point before resuming any political office, and that of 2015 is not an exception, the statement said. The media team of the Senate president also criticized the Code of Conduct Bureau for waiting 12 years to point out an alleged inconsistency in the documents filed by Saraki in 2003, actually. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Related Offences Commission, ICPC, says it has returned 924 million naira of looted funds to the Federal Ministry of Environment and the Federal Pay Office. Chairman of the ICPC, Ekpo Nta, said the agency sought court orders to recover and return the stolen funds to the affected offices. Nta said the commission was alerted by the Ministry of Environment regarding forced payment, which was presented to the ministry's bank by its permanent secretary, Adeola Adinoju, in December of 2014. Nta, however, expressed the anti-graft agency's commitment to recovering stolen funds. He added that the success of loot recovery was hinged on the prompt reporting by ministries and agencies of government, especially by their permanent secretaries. Key protege and documentary filmmaker Zuriel Oduole recently held a forum in Lagos where she invited youths from across the country to discuss ways to help Nigeria's education sector improve. TV360's correspondent Thelma Okoro has more on that story.
While education and the need to properly educate Africa's next generation of leaders has been a hot topic for decades, Nigeria alone still has more than 10 million children out of school. This is more than any country in Africa. Aside from the Nigerian government, this situation is being addressed by current efforts of some concerned individuals. One of such individuals is Zuriel Oduole, a 13-year-old documentary filmmaker. Zuriel for some years now has been an advocate for education, especially for the girl child. To find practical ways to educate children in the African continent, including Nigeria, she hosted some youths from different parts of the country within the ages of 13 to 25 at this forum in Lagos.
I believe that there are 3 ways we can educate children in the rural parts of the African continent. They are 1, the human resources that are willing to teach, 2, the technology we are able to share, and 3, the relevant software to power the combination of all 3.
Made up of high-achieving students, young teachers, and also young entrepreneurs, these youths were contacted through social media because of their efforts in improving the education sector in their own little way. One by one, they wrote down and shared ideas on the challenge confronting the education sector in Nigeria and how it can be resolved.
The main challenge will be ignorance among not just the child but parents and poverty. We can go through the local governments and source for more human resource, that is voluntary teachers that can be furthered towards the small communities.
It seems in Anambra State, the challenge we face is our young boys being unable to go to school. And this is because indigenes of the state are involved mostly in the master-servant occupation. 2, education challenge. Even those who have the opportunity of going to school are being faced with the problem of erosion destroying the little educational infrastructure. The gully erosion has destroyed most of the facilities that we young people would harness to become better.
After reading out their ideas, it was time to brainstorm on how best to bring the ideas to reality.
I think the government, if they necessarily donate money, they need to improve on the government schools, because I think they need a lot of things to add to the schools. They need to improve the chairs, the learning resources need to be improved, and I think they need to pay the teachers more, because it will motivate them to teach the children well. And they need to feed the children themselves, because you can't actually learn on an empty stomach. Nobody wants to do that. So they need to encourage the children that, it can actually learn and be happy learning.
Usually whenever I interview these heads of state, I always talk to them about creating policies for education in their countries to improve education, and also to allow other children who don't have the same access to resources and the same opportunity as others would to have a chance to go to school.
Zuria, who has interviewed so many high-profile individuals, including presidents and prime ministers, hopes to sway the government to take more action on education to ensure every child gets the chance to be educated. Thelma Okoro, TV360, Lagos.
Quite wonderful to see what a young girl is doing to improve education in this part of the world. Now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has announced that the Nigerian Army is set to adopt the Treasury Single Account as directed by the federal government. Speaking at the 10th Biennial Conference of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps held in Kaduna State, Northwest Nigeria, Buratai said the adoption of the TSA by the Army would help the force to get maximum benefits and operational efficiency. Buratai added that the fight against insurgency can only be sustained through adequate funding and prudent management of resources. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari earlier this month directed all ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government to unfailingly comply with the instructions on the Treasury Single Account by September 15, 2015 or face sanctions. And of course, all the ministries and departments, we understand, have all complied with that directive. President Muhammadu Buhari has given ministries, departments and agencies under the jurisdiction of the federal government 7 days to comply with the names of all public, to compile actually the names of all public service employees who are being owed arrears of salaries. The directive was made known from the office of the head of service of the Federation, Danladi Kifasi, in Abuja. The presidency said that the names of those being owed should be urgently compiled in order for them to get paid immediately. The MDAs were directed to ensure that each unpaid entitlement contains the name, designation, status, amount due to the officer, and it should as well be verifiable, accurate. And of course, accurate. Now, the federal government also emphasized that the correct details of the affected persons should be sent to the head of the Civil Service of the Federation on or before Monday, September the 21st, 2015. The National Emergency Management Agency has said that the Islamic school, which collapsed in Jos on Sunday, was originally a bungalow but was forcefully converted to a two-story building. At least 10 people were confirmed dead after the school building collapsed on students receiving Sunday classes in Jos, Plateau State, North Central Nigeria. The victims were about 30 children below the age of 10. NEMA Zonal Coordinator North Central Abdul Salam Mohammed, speaking in Jos on Wednesday, blamed the collapse of the building on carelessness. He said the materials used for the structure were also substandard. Abdul Salam said the casualty figure may have been higher, but a rainstorm had stopped some pupils from coming to school on that fateful day. A civil society group has expressed concern over the spate of collapsed buildings in the country, just as it attributed the ugly development to substandard products. Speaking during a media briefing in Abuja, the Standard Awareness Group called for a nationwide advocacy to support the fight against substandard products in Nigeria.
Standard Awareness Group was established in the year 2012 as a result of the challenges we have in the country there, which is around the building collapse. And then we wrote formally to interrogate the organization in charge of that, which is the Standard Organization. So therefore we set it up. And we have been working with them since that time. We've held a series of meetings, including the National Technical Committee in Lagos on standards, as well as a roundtable on stakeholders on cement in Nigeria, which our organization also held in March 5th, 2013 time, let's say. After then, we realized that as the present administration came in, the sing-song is anti-corruption. But we also discovered that a lot of organizations, particularly those that are, working against the effort to eradicate substandard products in Nigeria, begin to sponsor agents, fake agents, including civil society organizations, NGOs and all that, to begin to attack anti-corruption agencies, of which a Standard Organization of Nigeria is one of them. And as NGOs working with them, we see it as a challenge, as also our responsibility to address the gray area there. And that is why we have to come out there now. We are not doing only this one. Only about 1 month ago, we also came out, a team of anti-corruption civil society across the country, to address the issue on the chairman of EFCC. But we see a lot of petitions flying around and all that. But let me also maintain, and we always insist, that we are not saying that any of those leaders of all those agencies, heads of those agencies that are found guilty, should not be punished. We are still saying that they should be investigated, just like we also do. We do internal review. And how do we do that one? Is to also interrogate them from time to time. You need to see, even at times, the kind of letter we write to EFCC, ICPC, and all that, asking them to do certain things. So this is our concern. We believe we have a responsibility to also tell the Nigerians that, look, there are fake people that are working against our collective interest.
The former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Bamanga Tukur, has quit partisan politics. Tukur announced his retirement from active politics on Tuesday at a gathering to mark his 80th birthday. He advised political parties to maintain internal democracy in running their affairs. The former PDP chairman also called on political parties to check the frequent defections of their members from one political party to the other. Well, we wish him all the best of luck in retirement. We'll take a short break now, and when News Now returns, we'll be looking at business. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on TV360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. Welcome back. Oil prices extended gains in early trading in Asia on Wednesday after U.S. prices were boosted by a stockpile draw. This comes while a warning by OPEC producer Iraq that it may slow spending on new fields pushed up international crude contracts. Brent futures were up 18 cents at $47.93 a barrel. U.S. crude futures were trading at $45.01 per barrel. Despite the potential cut in Iraq spending, analysts say it would not immediately affect output from the second biggest producer in the organization of the petroleum exporting countries, OPEC. The biggest mass migration Europe has seen since the Second World War has entered a new stage as refugees who found their route blocked at Serbia's border with Hungary moved in large numbers towards Croatia, which has said it is ready to accept and direct people. For months, more than 170,000 mainly Syrian refugees traveling north from Greece have used Hungary as a thoroughfare to the safety of northern and western Europe. But on Tuesday, their path was blocked by Hungary, which finished fortifying a border fence, enacted new laws criminalizing the act of crossing it, and began rejecting asylum applications from people who arrived at the border after midnight on Tuesday. The move by Hungary has now forced refugees to move in large numbers towards Croatia. Migrants and refugees who make it to Croatia will be hoping to reach Slovenia, which is part of Europe's Schengen zone of border-free travel, and beyond to Austria and Germany, of course, Paris and Rome, of course. Now, the International Olympic Committee has chosen 5 cities as finalists to host the 2014 Olympics. Los Angeles, Hamburg, Rome, Budapest, and Paris are the cities set to compete to host the 2024 Olympic Games. The cities were reduced to 5 from the initial 6 after Toronto's Mayor John Tory announced on Monday that the city had decided not to bid because it had other priorities. The IOC will select the host city at a vote in Lima, Peru on September 2017. Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard has denied claims of racism after Senegalese international El Hadji Diouf accused him of never liking black people. The outspoken Senegal forward also accused Gerrard of being jealous of his achievements. However, Gerrard's lawyers have denied the claims made by his former teammate and say they are seriously defamatory. The pair have clashed in the media before, but the row was reignited when, in his book, My Story, Gerrard accused Diouf of having no real interest in football. Diouf spent 3 seasons at Liverpool after impressing for Senegal at the 2002 World Cup finals. Well, I wonder what these guys are quarreling over. I hope they settle their differences. Well, that's it on News Now. We thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360. We have a lot coming your way.